Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji anum pakhair ragale ni hao chune shumme washmale. Oh hi, gozaimus, guten morgen. Hola, bonjour, previous, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chator hai. Ahlan wa sahlan marhaba and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning alongside Shazad Khan and our very amazing new team member Shiza Hashmi. Hello Shiza, how are you today? Assalamu
I'm good.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to everyone who is watching. Welcome to World This Morning. Today is Monday, a beginning of a new week, and for me, it is also beginning of a new journey, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, worldwide, Monday is usually conceived as a drag. I mean, after such a relaxing and a fun-filled weekend, who really wants to get up on the next day and go to their work or go to schools or
And this is
universities?
what I wanted to ask. So, how was your weekend, first things first?
I mean, to be honest, it was full of work. I did not have my weekend off because I work other places as well. But which brings me to my question, what is the secret behind this energy on a day like Monday?
Oh, well, it's no secret. It's like when you're supposed to do one job in a day, I think you should do it right. I mean,
That's true,
this is
that's
what the
true.
concept is. But over here, ladies and gentlemen, in Islamabad today, the weather looks very good as well.
Oh, it's pleasant. It's so amazing. I really wish it rain soon, though.
Exactly. It looks promising. It's 32 degrees, but yesterday and day before yesterday, it was very hot. I couldn't even stand outside in the heat. But other than that, let's get started, and let's take a look at the top stories. Let's see what's happening all around the globe. Let's do it. Good morning.
Pakistan Army has successfully rescued two foreign mountaineers who were stranded at the Altar Peak near Hunza Valley. Do you know, actually, there were three. One of the Austrian one died, and these two were
Really?
wounded. Yeah.
But that's sad. Early in the morning. The advantages. All right, a group of Bangladeshi journalists visiting Pakistan took a tour of Lahore Fort. The 10-member delegation visited different parts of the fort, including and showed a keen interest in Sheesh Mahal and the Darbar.
No wonder, because
Have
it
you
is
been
so
to Lahore
beautiful.
Fort?
I have not, but I really want to be there.
The last time I went there, I didn't even buy a ticket because I thought that I'm a Mughal myself.
Oh, wow. I think that counts. Well, Cambodia's longest hand-woven scarf, or kurama, in Khmer, has entered the Guinness Book of Records. The 88-centimeter wide and 1,149.8-meter long kurama took nearly 5 months to complete.
Wow. I mean, clothes in women it's something where, women can just spend a lot of money on clothes. Is it correct or
It
not?
is true. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone believes that.
All right, last but not the least, enormous flocks of black-tailed gulls fly southward to the Snake Island in Dalian city of northeast China's Liaoning province for nesting and breeding every early summer. The birds have a cat-like call, so they are also called sea cat or cats probably. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these were the top stories. It's time to get started with whatever topic we have picked up on. So what are we talking about today, Shiza?
Well, great that you asked. This is one of my very favorite topics. I
Okay.
think everyone loves to talk about it. This is also one of the major issues that we're facing in Pakistan right now. We are going to talk about education, the problems that we're facing in education, and where we stand in terms of lack of education in our country. So just stick to your seats, grab that cup of coffee, because we are going to have a very informative and fun-filled 1 hour with you guys.
Wow, amazing that is. And talking about education, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing which I would love to say is that, I guess I started my school when it was 1992 or 93 when I was 4 or 5 years old. And the curriculum I went through, I think the kids are actually going through the same curriculum as well. But other than that, there are other issues. For example, Shiza, in Punjab, the literacy rate is 70% and above as well, whereas in federal as well. But other than that, if we go towards FATA or, other remote areas, there's the dropout rate is quite a lot, and it was so alarming that the literacy rate was 17% only.
Oh, wow.
And when we talk about the dropout rates as well, it's not that the kids do not want to go to school, but first things first, either they do not have a school nearby within their
Right,
own
right.
vicinity, or it's getting difficult for girls as well, and the dropout rates for women is quite higher than the boys as well. And they're-
Sometimes there is gender discrimination, sometimes there are cultural limitations, and there is poverty. There are a lot of factors that we are going to discuss with our guest. You care to introduce them?
Exactly. So let's get them started. Shiza just wants the conversation to get started. Very excited. Very nice. On my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, I've been joined by somebody. I'm listening to this designation for the very first time. I don't know what it is, but I'll definitely ask him. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he's a qualified pharmacist, and he's a podcast host as well. Early in the morning, very stuttery it is, but he's none other than Mr. Wasim Ahmed, all the way from UK. Hello, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. I'm very good, thank you. And yourself?
Thank you very much for joining. Shiza, what happens is that, when you're so energetic, you're full of energy, and you introduce somebody, hello, how are you? And, the next reply you get is, Walaikum salam, I'm absolutely fine.
What else do you expect from a guest,
Okay, what to do? Well, alongside Mr. Wasim Ahmed, we've been joined with somebody who's a very regular on our show. She's the executive director, Pakistan Alliance Forum, Girls Education. She's none other than Ms. Fajr Rabia. Hello, how are you?
Thank you for being on our show.
Hello. Thank you very much for joining us. Last but not the least, we've been joined by somebody who's been working with the Ministry of Education. He's been working with UNESCO as well. He's got 35 years of experience of education himself. He's none other than Mr. Arshad Saeed, and he's an educationist. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. So, Shiza, do you want to take the lead? Do you want to start
Yes,
the
of course.
conversation?
But before we start, I mean, in terms of education, I feel like I'm very proud to say that, a figure that represents education, that represents women education, Malala Yousafzai, actually belongs to Pakistan. She belongs to our country. And, but it's sad that she had to move out of country just to receive education, I was looking at the alarming figures yesterday of the literacy rate in Pakistan. And, about half of the male population is illiterate, and about 2/3 of the female population is illiterate. And when I say illiterate, the standard of illiteracy in our country is measured if you can write your name, if you can make a signature of your name, you are considered literate, which is actually very saddening because there are a lot of people who can make a signature or write their names but are not educated.
Well, I think signature is by birth as well, For example, if somebody will give you a pen and you're 4 or 5 years old, you can
just,
draw a signature.
exactly. So that doesn't make you literate.
So let's get the conversation started. So Fajr, I think this is a question for you. We live in a country where the definition of literacy is where if we can sign or write our name. What do you think, first of all, we need to do about it?
Well, it's a serious, sad state of affairs at the moment in Pakistan, and education is something that is required to build a nation. We're talking about CPAC, we're talking about lots of different things, and fortunately, we have huge amount of potentials in Pakistan.
Exactly.
And we can go into in detail when Wasim is talking about entrepreneurship on that end, but what we really need to do is fix our education system.
Right.
And like you said in the beginning, there are multiple issues that we're facing. It's not just one issue. You've got the cultural issues, you've got the religious issues, you've got all sorts of problems. But the biggest problem we have is that the access to education is not there, basically, right?
That's true. Funny you mentioned religious issues because this is living in the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Our religion tells us that every girl and boy is born with the same right to education.
It's the first word, Quran, Iqra, it starts, and there is no discrimination there at all. And actually, that's a very important point that we need to do a lot of awareness raising around that, our religion does not restrict girls from getting education, because what happens is when you're talking to families, a lot of time what they say is that the girl can't be leaving the house, so she can't be going to the school, so she can't be getting education, and then it's not needed for her because she's not going to do anything, she will be married off, and she does not need to be educated to be married.
That is true.
Right. So there's a lot of misconceptions there, which I think parents and communities need a lot of counseling and a lot of awareness raising, and there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be done. There's a lot of advocacy campaigns. There's a lot of media campaigns that we should be running on national level, that government should be running.
And we'll definitely come back to this as well. But Arshad Saab, please highlight how things are nationally as well.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to talk about the misconception about the definition of literacy. Many people don't know the official definition of literacy.
What is the official definition?
Yes, I will come to tell about this, but I would like to quote a recent incident where Parliamentary Committee on Education asked the Education Secretary, can you tell us the definition of literacy? And he was not able to. The official definition of literacy as per 1998 census was that a person is literate who can read a newspaper and write a letter. But for the 2017 census, it has been further improved. A person is considered literate who can read a simple statement with comprehension, write a letter, and make simple calculation.
Fair enough,
so
right?
that is the comprehensive definition of literacy.
from a statement and comprehending, I think that's getting a bit difficult as well. But other than that, it's for a better future of Pakistan as well. Now,
Yes.
talking about what are the things, because when we talk about 25A, obviously there
Yes.
are different things as well. So now let's come down to provincial level as well. How are things done provincially, and then we come back to being federal.
Yes, as was being mentioned earlier, that in some of the provinces, particularly in rural areas, literacy rate is very low. For example, in Sindh, whereas 73% people are literate, women are literate in urban areas, only 22% women in rural areas can read and write.
Okay.
And same is the situation almost in Balochistan,
Okay.
where around 15% people, women can read and write in rural areas.
That is such
As
a
a
small
whole,
number.
Yeah, it is.
at the moment, in Pakistan, about 60 million people of age 10 plus cannot read and write.
Right.
And as was mentioned, about 50% rural population is illiterate. That means they cannot read newspaper, they cannot participate in democratic process, and they are isolated. If we go to the children, the official figures have been that 22 million children are out of school of age 5 to 16 years, who should be, according to constitution, in the schools. But
Right. So which brings me to my next question, Mr. Arshad. According to Article 25A of the Constitution, a child aging 5 to 16 years has the right to free education in Pakistan. Where are we standing in terms of that on provincial and federal level?
yes, the constitution says that this right should be provided in accordance with the law. The provinces have to make legislation. They have prepared and passed the laws, but their enforcement is at an early stages. So provinces have to open more schools, and they have to offer incentives. We have to understand that there is also a problem with the data. Ministry of Education is saying that 77% children are in schools, but the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics says only 60% children are in schools.
So the
there
records
is a
are
huge
Right.
difference.
So you're trying to say that the records are jeopardized, or it's just that the way or the process of data collection is not right,
No, we have
or
to
we
be
do not even, or we are not even in line with the definition of literacy, because that might even jeopardize the figures.
No, on the definition of literacy and the data,
Yeah.
all provinces and the federal government agree on this. Even Ministry of Education agrees to this. When it comes to out-of-school children, then there are different figures. Two different ministries are quoting two different figures. And if we go to the data released by the population census, the out-of-school children may be about 40 million. So it has
Alright.
increased in my
So
view.
that's quite high as well. But now let me just move back to Wasim over here. So Wasim, first of all, first things first, what is a serial entrepreneur, and who is one?
If someone's pretty much crazy, that is the definition.
All right.
I think if you're someone who literally likes enjoying things grow from top to bottom, you're an entrepreneur. And if you're someone who likes to set things up or see organizations grow, brands grow, that essentially is an entrepreneur. But it's not limited to being a businessman. You could be an accountant, you could be an artist, you could be absolutely anybody you want to be. You guys could be entrepreneurs. You probably are, I don't know. But, it is a mindset and a lifestyle. It is not specifically based on, I own 100 companies. That's not what it is.
So even in this day and time, we still talk about entrepreneurship. There are kids out there. We were talking about incubation centers, or actually offering incubation spaces, which is great as well. But to do that, within a country where we see that education is not actually up to the mark, how do you think it will work for your business model to be applied over here within Pakistan?
You know what? It's not just Pakistan.
Okay.
The whole education model generally all around the world is just not fit for purpose.
Okay.
And I say that because you look at how you essentially get paid, and that's what it comes down to. You guys are talking about Pakistan. You look at the UK, you go to university, you come up with all your student debts. The most important thing that we're not taught at school is what your credit report is. So if your credit report is under 500 or is poor, you're not going to get any kind of funding. You can't get a credit card. You literally can't get much. So you're then reliant on finding a job just to pay your debt. And I think if you were taught financial models when we were young, if you were taught, actually it's quite important how you spend, how you utilize your money and how you make money, and have that in kind of the whole education model, so that you realize that even if you're an artist, how do you monetize that? And Because in the end of the day, if you can't pay your bills,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how great you are,
What's the
whatever
point
you
of
do.
doing whatever you're doing?
Exactly. Right.
So also you are a keynote speaker, right? You've been speaking to and you've been counseling the young entrepreneurs around the world. What have you identified are some of the factors that might be, keeping them from building their own businesses in our country? I feel like one of the biggest factors is the courage to take a risk of starting something new.
So fear of doing anything generally inhibits whatever you want to do, right?
Right.
And in fact, it doesn't just come from yourself. Someone will come to you and be like, you know what, I want to try this idea.
Right.
मैं ये काम करना चाहता हूँ. सबसे पहले अबू बोलेंगे तेरा दिमाग ठीक है.
Right.
पहले consistency लेके आओ,
Right.
job करो, खर्चे कौन pay करेगा?
Yeah.
And they're right to a certain extent, because in the end of the day, you've got to take your risks. Taking risks is probably not the easiest thing to do. But if you look at the most successful people in the world, they're not afraid.
That's true.
And in fact, when someone tells you crazy, and a lot of people are going to tell you crazy, you've started this, right? People are like, why do you want to go on TV? Like,
Right.
how's it going to work? TV's changing. And if you would have been like, oh, well, okay, fair enough, you wouldn't be here today.
Right, that's true.
And it is that. Look, people are going to tell you it's not going to work. When we started our first pharmacy, people thought we were crazy because we were open from 8 in the morning till 11 at night, Monday to Saturday, 11 to
Wow.
7 on a Sunday. We don't close on any bank holiday.
Okay, wow.
And we opened another one within 6 months of that from 8 in the morning till midnight. So now everybody thought we're definitely going to go bankrupt. I thought we were going to go bankrupt. It literally is that. But if I was to go there and listen to that,
Yeah.
you're just kind of stuck. I think if people say you're crazy because you want to start something, you're probably going to be working at your maximum potential. So that's a good thing.
So, you know, as-
Exactly. And that's why they say that, if you're the smartest person in the room, leave the room so that you can actually have some room of your own where you can learn. But other than that, since we're talking about entrepreneurship and you going to provide incubation space, how do you think you're going to do this over here in Pakistan? Because you're even working on bringing in newer technologies like virtual reality and other different things. So what are your plans?
So the Oxford Creative Hub is not essentially incubation center.
Okay.
It is more a creative space. Incubation centers are based on models where you bring people in, you educate them, and after 6 months, they go to another accelerator program and stuff, which is great. And I think, it's a journey, it gets people involved, right? My model is more specifically focused on teaching people how to make money.
All right.
Like when you come to us from day one, you need to know that I need to make money. In the end of the day, you can have the best business in the world. We can have all the PR and be fantastic. 6 months down the line, are you making money? If you're not, we didn't do what we said, and you didn't achieve what you were supposed to achieve.
Exactly. So it's all about teaching people as well. And Shiza, there's so many videos available over social media and YouTube or elsewhere where the title says, "This is how to earn money." But eventually, when you watch that video, and by the end of the video, you're like, okay, it's not that I've earned any money, but I've wasted 5 or 10 minutes of my life.
You have been watching those
because
videos.
because there
So
wasn't
you actually
anything.
opened the links.
Yeah, because there wasn't anything. I was like, probably I can quadruple whatever salary I get. But now we have to go for a short commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. But when you guys are going to come back, we'll be in conversation with Fajr, because what I wanted to ask is that she's actually doing these fundraisers so that she can make new schools within Pakistan as well, and she wants to take it to Canada and USA too as well. There are people out there in UK as well. So let's go ahead. Let's take a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning.
Good morning.
From 1947 to 1948, initially Pakistan used Indian coins and notes with Pakistan stamped on them. In 1948, finally Pakistan issued its first currency note. In 1953, State Bank of Pakistan issued banknotes of rupees 5, 10 and 100. In 1957, rupees 5, rupees 10 and rupees 100 notes were redesigned and reprinted. In 1957, State Bank of Pakistan added rupees 50 note. In 1965, rupees 500 notes were added. In 1967, all the notes were redesigned and reprinted. In 1981, Government of Pakistan once again changed design of rupee 1 note. In 1986, State Bank of Pakistan reintroduced rupees 2 note. Rupees 500 note was changed and rupees 1000 was issued. In 1997, State Bank of Pakistan issued a special note on 50th Independence Day of Pakistan. In 2005, rupees 20 note were added. In 2006, all the notes were redesigned and reprinted. In 2006, rupees 5,000 notes were issued. In 2008, rupees 5, rupees 20, and rupees 50 notes were redesigned and reprinted.
Welcome back to World This Morning. I hope you're all having a very good time. I know that we are. Just a while ago, we were talking about how important incubation centers are with one of our guests. And we just concluded that they are very important. I mean, there are universities in Pakistan like NUST alums. They have built new incubation centers to sort of encourage the new entrepreneurs that want to step in the business world.
And the best part is that it's not just NUST and LUMS, but yes, you know, NUST actually pioneered with the incubation centers, but
Right.
Higher Education Commission even came up with incubation centers. And for that, all you need to do is log on to their websites, and if you have a business idea, go to them, they'll definitely help you. But now we are in conversation with people who actually want to help the education sector of Pakistan, and they're doing a great job. And I think that you came up with a business model where you guys are fundraising in United Kingdom, you want to go to Canada and USA and make new schools over here within Pakistan. Which areas, how do you think that this plan is going to work?
First of all, Pakistan Alliance for Girls, there's a new project that has been initiated in Pakistan, which is called Educate a Child. And that's in partnership with Government of Pakistan, where Government of Pakistan is contributing nearly $33 million worth of in-kind support.
Okay.
And we have another organization called American Refugee Committee, which is an international organization, which is the lead on this program. And the purpose behind the program is to educate 1 million children who are out of education right now, between the age of 5 and 16. And as Sarah said, we've got 22.8 million are the government figures stated by APAM, which is the a government body that does all the stats.
Okay.
Not going on the census one, because that gets even scarier, by the way. So so that's the purpose. And as Pakistan Alliance for Girls Education, we have a lot of work going on around advocacy and campaigning around awareness raising for how important the girls' education is. But then at the same time, we are also working on innovative solutions which we can implement on ground level ourselves or with partners across Pakistan to reduce that number, especially around girls. When we talk about 22 million children who are out of education, 13 million of them are girls. So the higher percentage, which is about 62%, is girls which are out of school at the moment. So our initial plan in the first phase is to set up 100 of these community schools. We call them star schools. That's how we brand them. And star schools deliver a fast track curriculum for primary level. So instead of spending 5 years for primary, you spend 3 years in primary, and you can complete your primary education.
It
and
was hard for me to complete it in 5 years even. How do you think people are going to do it in 3?
So we focus on the most important elements within the learning, and that actually takes me to education reforms as well, that maybe we can talk about if we have time. But that's the plan, and we need about $100 million in total to bring in these 1 million kids for education, either through the non-formal education system or through the government school system.
All right.
So because the government is a partner, so government schools are also a part of the initiative. So in areas where there are government schools, we work with them and we look at their capacity building, we look at their infrastructure support as well, but then also looking at the areas where we can bring the communities together. So the children who are not attending schools, where the school is at least there, then we're helping them to start joining the school.
That's great.
And then the areas where we don't have any school in the vicinity, especially for girls, then the purpose is to set up a small school there, a community-based school which is very localized, and we hire local teachers, we train them as per our curriculum, and we get them to deliver the learning element there. We're hoping to start off. We're already working in the Islamabad area. By the way, just in Islamabad area, which is supposed to be one of the most modern cities of Pakistan.
And don't say anything
probably
bad
have,
about my city, please.
No, I love Islamabad. I absolutely love Islamabad.
Yeah.
I'm an Islamabadi. I wouldn't hear anything bad about Islamabad. We've got one of the best education system, government system in Islamabad. But even then, we've got nearly 20,000 kids just in Islamabad district who are not going to school.
Wow.
Which is that's the the lowest number in Pakistan if we look at in terms of area wise, but still 20,000 number wise is quite huge.
It is,
so we are working in we've mapped out areas with Federal Directorate of Education where there are high number of kids who are not attending school. So we're looking at various colonies, Muslim colony, Aspal colony, you're looking at slums in G6, G7, H8, I12. So we've got 3 schools. We've got another school opening today.
Wow.
And inshallah, so from here we're going there to do a little opening.
And where is that school?
That's in Aspal colony, which is right behind Presidency.
Okay, wow.
Amazing. So now I just want to quickly move on to Arshad Saab over here. Now, Arshad Saab, previous week, we had people from Morgan Foundation. Morgan Foundation is actually brainchild of the ex-chief of naval staff as well, Mr. Asif Sundela as well. But I think they come up with a very brilliant idea of public-partner-privateship as well, public-private partnership. Now, what they did was that whatever the existing facility of the government schools was there, they took, they were in contact with them, they took their teachers, trained them, gave them back, gave them computers, labs, and then, they made contracts with the government that, all the teachers they have trained cannot actually be posted somewhere else within the next 3 years so that the students can take advantage. Do you think that these plans are more better way off than the plans which Mr. Rabia Fajr is talking about, where we actually have to start from the scratch as well?
In my view, keeping in view the present situation, non-formal approach is the best model, are the community schools, because we need to know who are the children who are not coming to school. Mostly they belong to the poor families, or they are living in remote areas, and you cannot serve them through a formal primary schools. It takes more time and money to establish a proper formal school building and appoint a teacher. So a non-formal approach is the best one. You can hire a local teacher, you can start a school in a home, and the kids can come. So that is a very good model. Coming back to the out of school children, in my view, we also have to offer incentives.
Okay.
Right.
One of our neighboring country, whose population is 5 times more than us, they are having less number of out of school children than us. because mainly they are offering about 120 million kids midday meals.
Okay.
So, due to this incentive, the school lunch program,
Yeah.
more children are coming to schools. So, we have to see the background of out of school children. They belong to either poor families or the illiterate families. So, we
Okay,
have to
also-
cover these factors.
Right, Mr. Arshad, talking about out of school children, I feel like that is not the bigger issue. The bigger issue that we are tackling with is a mindset. You know, there are a lot of people in Pakistan, in different far-flung rural areas of Pakistan, who are not willing to send their children to school. How do we tackle that before moving on to, you know, schools or other
Yes, as I mentioned,
accessibilities?
two factors: poverty. Why parents are not sending to their children to schools, mainly because they think that the child will not get any employment after completing primary education or middle education. Since they are poor, they send their children to either to a restaurant to serve as a table boy or to a workshop to become a mechanic. So, the poverty is the main factor.
Right.
Another factor historically has been the illiteracy of parents in certain pockets where there is a more conservative ideas
Yes.
prevailing. The parents tend to not send their girls to
Yes, that's true.
schools.
Yeah.
But now it is changing in my view. There may be only 10% areas where there is a resistance to girls' education.
Right, right.
In all other areas, people are now aware of the importance of education, but you have to offer incentive to the poor families so they may be willing to send their children to school.
And this,
Can I-
yeah,
Can
sure,
I,
go ahead.
sorry, I'm
It's perfectly all right.
um,
You're our guest.
I think the important thing is, you know, when you talk about girls' education, what we don't find is, yes, I think that culture is changing. You know, we get contacted from FATA, Balochistan, lots of rural areas where there are no schools for girls. And parents call in and say, could you just come in and set something up? We'll give you everything, but teach our girls. I think that the bigger issue is, and Wasim is here, and this is why I would like to really link this whole thing up, that the opportunities needs to be provided to children. A lot of parents don't even send their boys to school because they think इसने पढ़ के कर क्या लेना है?
Right.
Then you're not going to get the opportunity. So they don't see it, and they don't, you know, so they don't want to spend that energy investment. They rather get their kids to be learning at a mechanic workshop, for example. So they're
Right,
at least picking up a skill and they're doing something with it.
Very nice.
And I'm sorry, just also with the girls, you see what happens is that what you'll find is that, you know, you have a lot of girls enrolling for primary education, but then the dropout rate by the time they reach class 5 is 85%.
Oh, wow, that's
And
alarming.
then, so you only have a very small number moving into secondary education. And even in secondary education, and I keep quoting these figures again and again, that secondary, at that level, we have even a bigger crisis because 1 out of 10 girls are managing to complete secondary education in Pakistan.
Okay.
So you can imagine how much problem we have. And that's where the culture and mindset needs to be changed, because as soon the girl grows up, the parents don't want them to go to school because the safety issues, etc., and they want them to be married off as well. That's where we need to be dealing with the cultural issues. At a younger age, we don't have that problem. And then again, providing entrepreneurship opportunities or employment opportunities to girls and boys is equally important. What I find in my personal experiences, I've come back to Pakistan. I came back hearing all these things. You don't, parents don't want girls to be working.
Yeah.
What I find is actually that's not the case. You go, I have worked in FATA. I've worked in a lot of areas where, South Punjab, for example, parents don't mind girls working as well if there is a proper opportunity
Right.
there,
Exactly.
which is completely fair of them to ask. If a girl is working, they would want that she's working in a safe environment.
Right, that's true.
And I'm hoping, I would also like to add in, Wasim is actually our ambassador for Pakistan Alliance for Girls Education, and is really doing a lot of support work for us in UK as well. Education and entrepreneurship are two things which can really help Pakistan.
They go hand in hand.
Exactly,
goes hand
and
in
this
hand.
is this is
Yeah.
why this is why I wanted to move on to Wasim over here, because Wasim over here is actually kind of saying that I'm going to bring in new opportunities. I'm going to bring in investment, new businesses, and whatnot. Now, Mr. Arshad said there's quite a lot of unemployment as well. We are at a record low within the job market as well. How do you plan on doing all of this, and then how do you plan on making sure that all of these opportunities are going to be inclusive for every member of the society?
So, building on what you said with education, so I'll give you an example. A pharmacist in Pakistan starts with an average wage of about 25,000 rupees.
Okay.
I've seen low, even lower than that, right? And that's shocking. After studying and getting your doctorate, because it's a D-Pharm program now.
D-Pharm.
Yeah.
How can you be making 25,000 rupees?
After studying for what, 5 to 7 years?
Incredible. That is incredible. Like, for me, that was shocking, right? Our dispensers in the UK get paid more, who aren't qualified pharmacists. Albeit the expenses are a lot more. So the whole thing for education is you need the education system to be fit for this current climate, which is bringing new technology, things are changing. Entrepreneurship is about wealth creation. That is primarily what an entrepreneur does. An entrepreneur doesn't accumulate wealth.
Okay.
He multiplies it, or she multiplies it. You spread wealth through society, and that multiplies. That is the job. So you set up businesses and opportunities for anybody, and it's not now restricted to having a building. And that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, right? You can be in a rural area. You need an internet connection.
Yeah.
And if you have an internet connection, you can monetize whatever your idea is, right? The only thing I feel that's really, really holding people back in Pakistan is the payment gateways.
Right.
In the UK, you could have a part-time job and you can set up an Amazon account.
Yeah.
You can start selling stuff. So
Right.
your income stream is increasing, right? And if that was now applicable in Pakistan, like, but then again, you guys are so innovative. I went to this place called, I think it's called Safina's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them, do you take online payments? They're like, not exactly, but we do deliver to houses. So I was like, tell me how you do that. They're like, we've got these WhatsApp groups.
Okay.
So you guys are innovative. You use whatever you have,
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
develop your own models.
We do come up
Right.
with
No,
solutions.
you
which
do,
were-
and I thought that was
Yeah,
brilliant.
that's
So
good,
That
yeah.
it's really good.
But it's just that
as
the
well-
online business is very different over here. For example, if my shoe size is 11, the one I'm going to get with 11 written on it is probably 8 or 9. So,
Well, that's because they're different shoe sizes domestically and
exactly,
abroad.
exactly. That's what it is. But you were saying something. Sorry.
No, so I think how we're going to do it is, one, we're going to teach a particular mindset to say it's good to get paid.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong in talking about money.
Okay. I mean, you like talking about money.
I do. Because I think
That's
got to that point.
entrepreneurship.
no, because I don't think what I find is you need good systems.
Yeah.
And by the way, value. When we say money, I don't mean just go chase money. What I mean is you create value in people's lives. The money comes.
Exactly.
And you'll hear that a lot. Money will come. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of people covering that space. What I really want to get across is how you specifically monetize your idea. So
Right.
we're not specifically saying that, just chase money, because that won't get you anywhere.
Exactly.
It is value building, but we want, and there's a lot of good people who want to do that. What we're saying is we want to help you learn the mindset to create that environment where you get paid.
Okay, that is amazing. Now, since we're left with just 3-4 minutes and we have to wrap up the show as well, one thing which I want to ask you all, and that is, how important do you think it is for our, business opportunity institutions, for example, for you're going to come in, you're going to give us some different opportunities in terms of businesses
Yep.
and innovation as well. Don't you think that it is important for universities and the fresh graduates to be in line and to be inclusive with such organizations
Yeah.
where the placement's done already while you're still studying?
Yeah, like for us in the UK, for example, we do a lot of internship
Yeah,
programs.
yeah.
So we get a lot of students coming in. So that's something I'm keen on doing with our businesses.
Okay.
Young people come in. So just to give you a bit of a background, right? The Oxford Creative Hub was actually born in Lahore, in the Alpha Tower. I was recently here with some friends. I was invited there, and I met this lovely couple who have a company called Nazdeek.com, Madiya and Mohammed. And when I met them, I saw this whole incubation center space, right? And then when I went back to the UK, we went to this marketing boot camp by Wealth Dragons. Now, I'm someone who's never bothered with social media. We did the traditional way. Open pharmacies, buy houses. Dad said that's a good way to do business. I mean, that's what we did, right? But when I went there, so John Lee, the guy who runs this event, he said, I charge £20,000 to do one post. I was like, crap. That's good, right? And then we met these three triplets, or one of the sisters, and they were like, we have a following of 300,000 on Instagram, so we would charge this much if you, for example, took a picture with us. I was like, wow, we've been doing business so slow. So I rang my brother. I was like, do we have any empty buildings? And he was like, yeah, we're about to put it on rent. I was like, this is the problem we've been having for 8 years. We're not thinking big enough, right? And we were like, we're going to convert this space so that we've got a collaborative space where businesses can come in. And we will coach and mentor them. There will have specific people who could do that. And then there's a virtual reality section, so you can develop virtual reality programs. We've got 3D printers.
Wow.
And then you've got a studio where you could do your podcasts and vlogs and all the rest of it and get your word out there.
Yeah.
So you're getting
It's
exposure.
like a mini studio with
Sort
some
of.
office space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just great. So what about you? What's your take on this one? Being in line, university students, you're still studying. The placement is actually looking for, what your interests are,
Yeah.
and then moving your CV forward to different organizations. That these might be the people for the place.
Yeah, because I think even if at that point you're not getting engaged in your practical life, then you're not, it just takes you even longer. And hence, we require those education reforms that, while you're in school, you need to be really exposed to the outside world. You should be taken out on field visits into companies, etc. So you can learn all of this right from early age. At university time, it's a definite must that, and we again, we encourage internships in our organization. We bring in young people, summertime.
Yeah. So for all those people who are out there and are looking for internships, we are going to give away the email address probably. What is the email address? Please go ahead and share it with us.
It's info@page, P-A-G-E,
info@page
.org.pk.
.org.pk, and it's not just for ladies.
It's not just for
anybody
ladies.
can apply.
Anybody can apply.
Great,
yes.
Arshad Saab. Any last remarks about education, about capacity building, whatever you want to say?
Yes, I would like to urge, because it's now the election season, that all political parties, whoever come into the power, they should spend more money on education, number one. The public representative should take interest in the education. And according to Constitution of Pakistan, education up to secondary level should be free, and they have to make it free. There should not be any commercialization of education up to secondary level. It should be state sponsored. There can be private management that they can work, because quality of education is far better than that, but that should be state sponsored.
Exactly. Thank you very much for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation. Shiza, did you enjoy the conversation?
I absolutely loved it, and I love the fact that how he mentioned elections and how they're coming up. Everyone who is going to vote in these elections, do not vote for a specific person because you like them or you have affiliation towards them. Vote for an ideology so that all of us can witness a better Pakistan, an educated Pakistan.
Because I just don't think about parties, because of the fact that the only parties I like are on Friday or Saturday. I know it was a disturbing joke, but ladies and gentlemen, you can always write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter.
World This Morning -G.
Yeah, and on Dailymotion and YouTube.
World This Morning.
And the fabulous repeat is going to be at 11 p.m. Look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.